I'm about to make a statement, and you're going to say, well, Gary, I don't know if I understand what you're saying, but what I'm about to say, you need to understand I am very, very honest about. I stand amazed at people who have the ability to find their way just about anywhere they want to go. And you say, well, Gary, why are you amazed at that? Well, there's another part to it. Not only can they get to where they want to go, they can find their way back. Okay? Now, I want to make a statement, okay? And this is honestly how I feel, and you'll understand why in just a minute. How in the world do they do that? Find where they want to go and then turn around and find their way back. You say, well, that may not amaze you at all, but when you're not a direction, Sandy calls me directionally challenged. It's a very difficult thing for me to find where I want to go, obviously, unless I've got my technology. So here's what I want to say about people like me who can't get to where they want to go, or they find it very difficult to get back. People like me, we don't get lost on purpose. We're not trying to do that, okay? And you need to understand, people like me, we're lost before we even know it. One day I was on the way to Evansville, Indiana. I had to meet with some of the top GE corporate officials at that facility, and I had to be there at a certain time, but I just kept driving, and I was obviously late, and I didn't understand why. Until I looked up and I saw the arches in St. Louis off in the distance. I had traveled 259 miles the wrong way. And you say, well, how can you do that? I'm directionally challenged. I don't do it on purpose. And you need to understand, people who are like me, we end up where the road ends up. I flew into Sacramento, California one time, and I had an appointment in Merced, all right? I got in the car, rented my car, and I was driving, and it got dark, and I said, man, I should have already been there, but I was looking for a certain exit, and I ended up in Lake Tahoe. Now, you got to understand, that wasn't 259 miles, but it was just a little less than 200 miles out of my way. So it was 2 hours out of my way and then 2 hours back. And I got to my hotel room about 2 o'clock in the morning. And what you need to understand is the road that I was on got me to St. Louis. The road that I was on got me to Lake Tahoe. I wasn't going there, but I was going in the wrong direction. We end up at the destination that's at the end of the direction that we're going on. Guys, I am so thankful for technology. I don't get lost anymore. When I set up an appointment, even if I'm meeting somebody here, I always put the address of the church in the location. Or if I set up an appointment in my calendar on my phone, I put in the address. So all I have to do is hit that button and, Siri starts taking me there. I am so thankful for that. But technology's great. Now, there is a connection for me saying that to you. There is a connection between driving and living. But there is also something different about living, and you'll understand this when I get into it. What's obvious when it comes to driving is that that's a little bit different when it comes to living, and it's this. But a highway, a road, has a predictable destination, okay? And we know that. There are predictable destinations in just about every area and arena of our life. And that's what it makes how living and driving are somewhat similar. Last week I introduced to you what I called the principle of direction, okay? And it's been the center, started out at the center of our conversation, and today and 2 more weeks it's going to have the focal point of what I'm talking about. And it's because of that principle of direction that you can honestly predict your future. Because if you're going in a certain direction, there's a certain destination that you're going to reach. Principle of direction. Direction determines destination, whether you're driving or whether you're living. Whether it's financially, professionally, relationally, morally, spiritually. I put a word in there that doesn't exist, marriageally. I made that up. But I was trying to be consistent with the ALLYs. And so I started to put parentally in there, but it got me out of balance 4-3, so I didn't do that. But in all these areas of life, if we go in a certain direction as it relates to these, we're going to end up at a certain destination. Now, there is a challenge. And there is a disconnect in living life between where we want to go and where we end up. And now, if I was to sit here and ask you some questions, in 2 to 5 years, 2 to 5 years, where do you want to end up financially? Well, you probably could, you've thought about this, you've dreamed about it, we all do. We have certain intentions that, or certain things that we want to accomplish. You say, well, in 2 years, I need my salary to be increased by this much, and in 5 years, and we know where we need to be and what we want financially to be part of our life. These are our intentions, and these are what we want to do. Professionally, you may say, okay, in 15 years when you were working, you may have said, I want to own my own company, and to do that, I have to do certain things. These are our intention, and we can do that and talk about that morally, spiritually, in our relationship with our family. But what you need to understand, and guys, this is the pivot point of today's lesson, so I need you to pay attention. Your direction in life overrides your intentions in life. And we're going to let Solomon show us that in just a moment, okay? Direction, guys, listen to me. This is very important. Direction always wins in life, not your intentions. Listen to me. Not your dreams of what you want life to be. Direction always wins in life. Now, our dream, our intentions about our family. We can walk up here and say, I want our family to be a unit. We need to be family-centered. I want us to have dinner together every night. And I want our family to be very close. And this is a dream, or this is our intention as it relates to our families. But the direction that we go in is this. Dad, Mom works all the time, and they're never there. Or we get our kids involved in sports or different activities, and they're gone, and we can never find time together. See, our direction is different than our intention. Maybe as grandparents, you want to say, I want to live a long life so I can have a relationship with my grandchildren. And all of us who are grandparents want that. But watch this, guys. In the meantime, you eat too much and exercise? Okay, that's something somebody else does. That's not what we do. But yet, our dream of spending time with our grandchildren, our intention, well, the direction out-trumps the intention. Watch this. One day, we're going to be debt-free. In the meantime, debt's a way of life. Remember, we're living the American dream. I keep buying the new car. I buy the new phones. I get a bigger house. I buy newer furniture. And I have to work more hours. See, I want to be debt-free. That's my intention, my dream. But our direction is we just keep heaping the debt on. My intention is this. I want to raise my kids in the church, absolutely. If you want me, my kids are going to be raised in the church, okay? That's our intention, our dream. But when things settle down and things aren't so busy, we'll get them in church. See, the direction that we're going in overrides our intention. I want to have a great relationship with my husband, my wife. My intention. Once the kids are grown, I'm going to make him or her the priority. See, the direction that we're going in life overrides our intention or our dream. Watch. I know that God is with me in the tough times. I want to have that kind of certainty in my life, that God is always there. That's my intention in life. You know, guys, Sunday's the only day I can sleep late. Now, I come home from work on Wednesday, and man, I'm just tired. See, our direction can override our intention or even our dreams. The direction you're moving in every area of life, ultimately determines your destination in life. Whether you think so or not, it doesn't matter what you think. Guys, you are unique. There is no one like you in the world. God created us this way. But listen, your story's not unique. There have been thousands and millions of people say, Sunday's my only day off. We've got to have a better car, so I've got to upgrade. Your story is not unique. You are, but your story is not. Your direction is not unique. There are millions and millions of people that are making these same decisions that we looked at just a moment ago every day. And the destination that you get, maybe a divorce, your children don't want to have anything to do with you, you're so sick you can't go out with your grandkids. Your destination is not unique. Guys, your direction in life, this is biblical, and you're going to see it, overrides your intentions in life. It overrides your dreams. About 900 BC, the third king of Israel, Solomon. And I've got to tell you something. We all just love Solomon. And we've been told and we've read about it, he's the wisest man in the world. We've read the book of Proverbs. And man, they're great proverbs and they're very practical applications in life. And Solomon, on paper, about to make a statement here, was a very wise man. But the truth of the matter is, Solomon wasn't live it out wise. And what I mean by that is he didn't put into practice the wisdom that he knew. In fact, he wrote a book of Ecclesiastes. He told us all the things that he did. Now we focus on the end at the book of Ecclesiastes, where it says the whole duty of man is to fear God and keep his commandments. And we say yes to that, but we forget what Solomon did to get to that knowledge. 300 wives, 700 concubines. He drank. He spent his money on building houses. Money was important to him. He did everything to bring it in. And he built beautiful gardens. He did all of this stuff. And Solomon didn't put into practice the wisdom that he learned. In fact, at the end of his life, Solomon ignored all of his advice, and his story doesn't go very well at the end. Even though he was the wisest man that had ever lived. See, his direction overrode his intention and his knowledge even about God. And we're going to look at a story today that's very important. We're going to look at a parable in the book of Proverbs that proves this. All right? Watch. In this parable that we're going to look at, there is a naive young man. There's a seductive married woman, and I am so glad the kids are gone because there's a little R-ratedness to this story today, and you know the story. But it's about a seductive married woman, and there is the teacher. All right? Watch this. At the window of my house, this is the teacher talking, and again, it's a parable, and it's a parable about wisdom, okay? At the window of my house, I looked down through the lattice. I saw among the simple. I noticed among the young men a youth who had no sense. He didn't have good sense. Now, we can ask the question, and we know the answer to it. There's only two ways to get good sense or wisdom in this world, and that's have enough time to see the impact that life has on other people, or the fact that we experience life ourselves. Well, this young man is about wanting to experience life. And because of that, the teacher said in this parable, he had no sense. Now watch this statement. He was going down the street near her corner. Now guys, I worked a long time to try to figure out how to illustrate this one verse, but listen to the rest of it. Walking along in the direction of her house, and we know who she is, at twilight, as the day was fading, as the dark of night set in. Now, how do I illustrate this? You get it? You understand? I'm serious. You wouldn't believe the hours I've spent looking for illustrations. I said, I just want you to hear the music, all right, of what this meant. Now, he didn't go down there looking to have a problem. He probably heard about her. She had a reputation, we're going to find out, and he wanted to see, but maybe he didn't expect to get caught in this trap, but he was going in a certain direction, and that direction had a destination. Listen. Then out came a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute, and with crafty intent. The teacher said, I need to explain this. So he put in what's called a parenthetical statement. She is unruly and defiant. Her feet never stay at home. Now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner, she lurks. The teacher wanted us to know she had a reputation. But this young man was down there. I don't believe he ever intended for what happened to happen. It wasn't his intent. But guys, direction overrides intent. Watch. She took hold of him and kissed him. And with a brazen face, she said, now guys, this is going to get a little R-rated, okay? I'm glad the kids are gone, all right? Today, I fulfilled my vows. I had food from my fellowship offering at home. Now, she's probably referring to a Canaanite religious ceremony. And what this ceremony obviously was about is she's saying, I'm not a bad person, I've been down, I've taken care of this problem, I'm a religious person, but you need to understand, I emptied my sin bucket. I emptied it. All right? You ready? But let's fill it back up. Boom, 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 boom. See, I don't believe he was naive. He had no sense. He didn't understand. Now, and I don't believe it was his intention. Maybe he just went to look. But watch what happens. So I came out to meet you. I looked for you. And found you. What she did, she made him believe that he was one in a million. Remember how I said a minute ago, you're unique, but your story's not, your direction's not, and your destination is not? She made him feel like he was one in a million. The truth was, you're an idiot, okay? And you're one of a million. But that's not what he believed. She said, I have covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloe, and cinnamon. Wow. See, this is a big deal in this culture, and we forget this. And when Sandy and I began, our nonprofit in the garbage dump of Guatemala, you go down there and you experience why that statement was said. But this doesn't mean anything to us because we're not in this. In ancient times, everything smelled horrible. Horrible. It smelled like manure. It smelled like body fluids. They never brushed their teeth, at least not like we do. Guys, they didn't have mouthwash. All right? They didn't have soap, not like we did. If they had a bar of soap, maybe when they got to a lake, once a week, once a month, they would use it because that was very, very costly, that piece of soap. They didn't keep themselves clean. So everything smelled horrible. But what she has done by saying what she said is this: I'm going to rescue you from this horrible, smelling, polluted world that you live in. You're going to come in to an environment, and not only is it going to feel good, watch this, it's going to smell good. It's going to be perfect. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Come, let's drink deeply of love till morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. She realized after she made that statement, there might be a problem. And she kind of reads his mind, and guys, that's not that difficult at this point. And so she says to him, my husband is not at home. Watch. He has gone on a long journey. He took his purse. Now, I got to say something about purse, because in our society, that's, but that's not what she's saying. In the New American Standard Version, it's translated, he has taken a bag of money with him, not purse like homosexuality. He has taken a bag of money with and will not be home till full moon. You ready for this? There's no consequence, and you will not get caught. There's no consequence. No one will know. Watch this. You can do the wrong thing and it will turn out all right. I don't believe he went down there, but he got caught in the snare. And you're going to see that. Watch. With persuasive words, she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. See, he had to be persuaded. It wasn't his intention. All at once, he followed her. Now, guys, watch this. This is so important. Yeah, he followed her, okay? All at once, he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter. All at once, he followed her. Guys, this wasn't his intention. His intention was different. Maybe he was just wanting to see what it was like. He wanted to see her. She had a reputation. All at once, he followed her like a deer stepping into a noose till an arrow pierced his liver. All at once, he followed her like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. At this point, the teacher steps back from the parable, and the teacher begins to teach the lessons to be learned. Listen. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her paths. A direction. See, last week we learned about the fool, and the fool says this: now is now, later is later. Okay? Now is not about later. The past is the past, the present is the present, and the future is the future. All right? The present is not about the future. The weather today will be the same as the weather tomorrow. That's the fool. The teacher says, don't get caught in her past. Watch this. Many are the victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Now listen. Again, I don't believe with his intention that he ever meant to get caught in this. He was naive. And he got down there, he went to see, he saw her. She began to say, it's you, I've been looking for you. His intention was not to get caught in this. But the teacher says, many are the victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Do you know why counselors are so smart? I'm going to kind of step away from this in a second. Whether it's counseling through minister or what I did for a long time in a large church. I was a counselor. Do you know why counselors are so smart? And you can back up and you say, well, they're educated and they're good at their crafts, but again, do you know why they appear so smart? Listen to this. The reason we appear, whether counseling from a minister or a counselor, that we're so smart is because you are so predictable. And what I mean by that, if you're going in a certain direction, there's a certain destination at the end of that direction. That's why we come across so intelligent and so smart. See, your direction has a destination tied to it. And you walk into a counselor, I'm looking for a fix. Fix me. I need to keep my marriage together. I'm not doing well with my kids, man. My debt's out of control. I need to find out what's going in my life that's created all this problem. I need you to fix me. Guys, we saw last week, you can't fix personal problems. Now listen. The solution to personal problems is this. You change your direction in life. That's it. Jesus never tried to fix anybody's problem. He just pointed them in a different direction and said, this is what you should be doing. Now, it's your choice whether you do it or not. You change direction. When you change direction, guys, things change. And this is Solomon's point. Watch. Her house is a highway. And I know you're sitting there thinking this. Solomon, you mean it's on a highway, right? That's what you meant to say. It's on a highway. And he says, no, I mean it is a highway. How can a house be a highway? And he's saying this, because her house and everything associated with it is taking you somewhere. Guys, you are unique. But your experience is not unique. Your direction is not unique. There are millions and millions and millions of people every day go down certain directions, and those directions has a destination. And that destination is not unique. I don't care if Tyler goes down that way or Tom. It doesn't matter who goes down that direction. If you keep going, the destination is the same. Listen, her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death. Now, it may bring death physically. It may bring death to your relationship. It may bring death to your job. But it will create death in a certain area if you continue down that way. Guys, we need to find someone who can see what you don't see. We need to find someone who can see what you don't see. We need to find someone who can see what you won't see. And you need to ask them and talk to them and see if they can see what you can't. See, I can predict your future. You can predict your future. All you have to do is look at the direction you're going in. It's that simple. You want your future to change? You change direction. Guys, we're going to pick up here next week. You don't want to miss next week, I assure you. Would you bow with me? Father, as we stand in your presence and we listen to what Solomon had to say to us, Father, open my ears, open our ears, and let us hear. Father, it was a parable, but when he stepped out of that story and he began to talk directly to us, Father, it becomes very obvious that I can dream about what I want my life to be. I can have all of the best intentions in the world. But if I'm going in a direction away from that dream, away from those intentions, I'll never accomplish them. You know, Father, I wish sometimes you would just tell us what we need to do. Make us do it. But Father, through your wisdom, your word points us to where we need to be. Your word points us in the direction that can give us a solution to problems in our life. Father, help us to understand. Direction, not intention, determines our destination in life. That's very clear, Father, in this story that Solomon told us. Father, give us the wisdom. Give us the strength. Give us the friends that will come to us and wake us up and help us see where we're headed. And if there's anyone that wants to talk, maybe you don't come forward. You call me. You talk to me after service, and we'll get together. Maybe you want to talk to Sandy or one of the elders' wives or one of the elders. Whoever it is, you're ready to make a change because you see where you're going. You're already dealing with the consequences. Father, give them the courage to do that. And Father, I pray this prayer in your Son's name. Amen.